It's exciting to be here on our first quote unquote podcast. I've worked with both you, Andrew, and Yulia, and you're both brilliantly talented and experts in your field. How cool would it be if we had 3 points of view to talk about songs, stage, and social media? What can we do to make people love us? I don't know. Happy to think of something really exciting besides ASMR.
There's nothing more exciting than ASMR. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
I hate ASMR, actually.
Do you
There
really?
You go.
It's
Freaks
good
me
to
out.
know.
It freaks you out. Maybe we'll get more likes if we talk like this.
You know, you have to like eat strawberries in a weird way. People love that. You know what I mean?
That's disgusting.
Don't kink shame. You know, they're out there, they're eating the strawberries and whispering. They got billions of likes. Get with the program.
This is Artist Amplified, a series for musicians where we take your songs, your studio, your stage, and your media presence and turn it up.
So today I had a consulting call with an artist. I made a video yesterday about this one artist that is she's an industry plant. And I was the one who said, oh, you know, like I said, how do you identify an industry plant?
What do you mean
What's an industry plant?
Yeah,
I'm right there.
Okay, so I made a video today because there's this one artist going viral, and it was a video where SZA and Schoolboy Q and a bunch of big artists started commenting on the video, and we're like, what is going on? Like this person just came out of nowhere. And I went to her Instagram and the video got like, I think it was like 700,000 views. And then I went on her TikTok and I was like, there are no views on her videos, which means somebody boosted this video and told artists to comment on it. So then I made a video and I said, how do you identify an industry plant? Like an artist who the label is trying to push, but the artist did not earn their place. Like the people online did not discover her. They didn't push her. She doesn't.
So it's not organic. You're saying it's not organic.
Yes.
So can you talk us through what it looks like if Sony decide that they want to push an artist? This is day one. They've talked to the artist, friend of a friend. We're like, get ready, strap in. You're about to get launched off an aircraft carrier. What does it look like, A to Z?
Okay, so the past, the way they used to do it, when Instagram was what it was before TikTok, you would just have the artist post pictures or post clips and that was it. But then TikTok came and changed everything. That's like the thing I always say. TikTok came along and changed everything. And so basically now you have to go viral off your sound but you also have to build a community. You have to get
Wait. Sorry, for the musicians. When you say go viral off your sound, what do you mean?
So basically, you have to make a bunch of videos about your song, but not only you have to make content about your song, other people make content about your song. And then the song, as more people are making content about it, then it becomes viral. Like it goes viral.
Where it's like a snowball.
Like they dance in the kitchen, that kind of thing.
Could be. I mean, sometimes it's just people hanging out or there's just one song that went viral because I think it was like people were just telling you about their partner. They were like, before my boyfriend met me and after he met me. And then it was just the transition. It was like a before and after video and people, and that song went super viral. So just really, it was just like human life mixed with music. Right. And so that's how the songs normally went viral on TikTok. And so TikTok has deprioritized music. So songs don't go viral as much because TikTok now is paying educational creators 3 times more than any other creator. So that means that artists and entertainment creators are not getting paid as much. So the educational creators are making more content. There's more educational content on TikTok, which means it's deprioritizing music. And so now what the label is doing is they are going on Instagram and using Instagram Reels and Instagram trial Reels and boosting that. So they'll have artists make a video and either they're dancing and then they'll put money behind that video, but the video is not going to show sponsored post. It's just going to show it to more people. And
wait. How are they doing how are they putting money behind something in the way that you describe and it's not sponsored? What do you mean?
Because they didn't. So when they boosted the video, when they made it go, like boosted it, it was organic. It was an organic video, and then they put money behind it, meaning it's going to be shown to more people, but it wasn't put through an ad system. So it's technically not an ad, so it doesn't have to be labeled as an ad.
So it's right. So the difference between if I want to sell a pair of shoes, I have to put sponsored and it's part of their product flow.
Yes.
You're talking about a boosted post, which is not sponsored content. That's like I put out a video and then it says, do you want to boost this post? We've all seen that prompt. And you're saying they said, yeah, we want to boost it by $10 million, not by $10. So they're kind of hacking the system. Is that what you mean?
Yes. And then they're getting artists on their label to comment on the video. So this artist is, nobody knows who they are. They don't know their story. We don't know who this artist is. And then a bunch of big artists start commenting. So then the algorithm starts pushing the video even more. And then now people think, oh my gosh, this is a cosign. Like these artists are co-signing her. So basically that's how they're co-signing her.
So it looks like a collab of sorts because it's the piggybacking effect.
Yes. Yeah. But it is all orchestrated. The publicist probably emailed the link to all of the artists on the label and said, please comment on this video. And then artists started doing it, or their label team, maybe like their management teams. Yeah. So that's what I exposed. And my video did really well.
You know what I'm going to ask you next, right?
Yes.
Let's say you are an up-and-coming artist and you'd like to be in that position. You'd like to have the label get behind you and give you that kind of support. How would you go about it?
What I would do, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this strategy because this strategy has been failing for artists like Forbats. I mean, there's artists like Tommy Richmond where they get boosted, but then nobody knows their story. And now they basically die with the song. When the song goes high and then the song comes low and then
so it's like a one-hit wonder problem.
Yes, exactly. So I teach artists to build a platform, not pushing songs. So building a platform, building your story, and then put songs on top of it. So what building a platform means is talk about your interests. Like, so today I had a call with an artist and I said, don't just shine light on your output, which are your songs. Turn the light around and shine it at yourself and shine the light at your input. So what is coming into your life? Oh, well, I like to read. I used to work at Paramount. I'm from Harlem. Now let's talk about that. Can make content about that's your platform. The output is also important, but you have to shine light at the input too.
We want to know who they are first.
Exactly. And that's why telling your story, I'm from Santa Maria, from the land of the strawberries and wine, whatever. Right? Tell your story and people are going to connect to that because now you can build that platform and now the label's coming to you from a different perspective. You own your brand and now they just want to fund it, but in a different way. Now it's a distribution deal. Now it's a different kind of deal where you own most of the equity and they're just trying to get a little bit of money. That's what I would recommend.
It's so interesting because it used to be sort of like you described, the beautiful glossy photo where there was some sense of mystery. And depending, some artists still want to have that. But now, especially if you're coming from the ground up, from what you're saying, it's all about influencing people to like you by liking you.
In the UK, the House of Lords just passed a thing saying they see AI as a clear and present danger. It was more of a decree, and it was less of a legislative process. What I think is more interesting than that is that Apple Music this week are beginning to enforce a thing where you have to declare if your content is AI. Listen, we've got AI content being uploaded to the platforms at a rate of 20,000 songs per day.
Yeah, okay. That's crazy.
That's where we are, right? And so Apple have now required people to say this is AI content. This is the first time we've had that level of transparency. And as you all know, we had a hit. I think for the first time we've had an AI hit in the charts. It was in the country music digital charts. And we've had this hit. Nobody knew it was AI. Now, when you do the polling and when you ask the humans what they prefer, they want human stuff. So they actually do want human stuff. They'll tell you, I want the authentic thing. That still matters to people. What's interesting is when they don't know what they've been served and they still enjoy it and they still perceive the same value. But in actual fact, it was AI content. Does it matter if people are enjoying it either which way? I think it does. I think that we should always favor the human spark. This is the first time we've had any of the major labels really acknowledge that there is a problem. and that things are getting lost in the noise. And we've all talked already about, whether the record labels will care. Is it desirable for the record labels just to put out AI artists for the rest of time? Why do we need real life human artists? If you are Sony, you're sitting there in your revenue meeting and you're going like, okay, guys, tell me again why we need a songwriter. What do you guys think about that?
There's incredible things about AI, and I'm not going to deny that. There's incredible things about technology that we have to roll with. That's just a fact of life. When it comes to art, when it comes to the human expression, AI is very good at copying what has already been done. Really, really good at it, and it is learning the more we feed it. That's just a fact. I just feel that people listening at some point in time would want to know that this came from an authentic place, that it came from an authentic experience that somebody had, because we're losing more and more of that connectivity. And the only thing that really connects us over anything else, where you could have every color, every religion, every kind of person in a room, is when we're all experiencing music together. So I don't want to lose that hope. Does it matter? I have a 6-year-old niece. I don't think she's going to know the difference. But most of my students are interested in the older art, the ones that are writers. So it's a question between the audience listening versus the musicians and what they're going to want. But I was going to say one other thing in lieu of that, with the AI and being on TikTok and going through Apple. Apple now is, where is it? You can play the full song inside the TikTok through Apple Music, and they're calling them listening parties. And royalties are being paid normally. And so TikTok is wanting to discover and wanting to go into paid streaming, and labels are also tracking AI generated music. So we have two things going on. Artists can dominate low cost streaming economy while TikTok decides which songs even reach the streamers, and we're being able to differentiate between AI and real artists. So maybe at some point this balance is going to happen between listeners being able to make a choice. Do I care if it's real or not? And will it be like NFTs, where at one point in time you're going to want the original person, you're going to want to know it's authentic? Maybe that will be the new coolness. I don't know.
I think there's part of that. We're in a situation, there have been 15 bills introduced in the US legislative system since 2024, right? 73% of musicians support protections, and they're making the music. You might say they don't have much of a voice. And then there are 3 big lawsuits pending, right, with Sony, Universal, and Warner. So things are changing. And if I were a young artist today, I would say you should do what you're doing. I think that there are 2 main reasons for that. One, I think that the AI kind of surge is going to get muted. I think that it's going to get legislatively muted, and there are going to be guardrails put in place. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I won't go into all of them right now, but I do think there will. So I think that within about 2 years from now, you're going to see less AI content on the big streaming platforms. You'll see it. You'll see it on some reel here, or you'll see it in adverts or wherever you see it. But I don't think that you will see the current 20,000 song per day output that we're seeing now. One of the reasons is I don't think that the platforms can support it, because trash is just being dumped every day into their funnel, and that costs them a lot of money to process that data, to harvest that data, and to figure out what's what, and to store that data and to serve that data. And I don't really think that they're going to want that. It's reducing the value of their platform and their product. And then the other thing that we all know that AI cannot do is perform. AI cannot perform. Now, what we can do is the middle ground, where AI makes a song and the record company pushes the song, and then they find some human avatar to go and perform it at the iHeart, whatever. But that sucks.
You told us that story, Yulia. Tell the story.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but just to say that I do think you should pursue your writing and your performance and your
100%.
art, because that's actually what's going to stand the test of time. We're in a weird moment with this kind of proliferation of AI, but it's not going to stay. So stay on it, keep going, and keep refining your art. What were you going to say, Yulia?
Oh, I was going to say, I think that there are two types of music. There's mood music, like vibes music. And then there's shaman music, which is like this human, shamanistic, like kind of what Anika teaches, this very archetypal music. And I think the mood music is AI is going to cannibalize that. That's going to be what AI can do because it's mood. We just need something to get in a mood. I need something to help me, do my research.
Library music.
Exactly. Like, like elevator music. And then there's that feeling, like that shamanistic Homo sapien music, and kind of what Andrew said, the live experience. I think that's what humans are going to continue to develop. But that mood music, let AI have it. I would say, let AI have it. But let's build that shamanistic music, because I went to this random party a couple weeks ago, and this girl in the studio, she said, "Oh, this one big label," she said, they reached out to me and they said that they wanted me to be the avatar for an AI artist that they're developing. Like, I don't have to do anything. I just have to perform and lip sync basically the songs of that avatar, of that, that AI artist. And they're going to do the writing. They're going to do the production, all of it through AI. And I just have to be, the human avatar. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, wow, this is crazy.
Wasn't she also a singer? You said she's a singer and songwriter.
I sing. I know how to sing, but they don't want my voice. They want this voice.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I'm not surprised. The music industry is a machine, right? And it came through, it used to be a product. Like, you had physical products, and it used to sell a product, and the artist was just the avatar to sell that physical product. So now music is no longer a product. Music is it's software. Basically, you're listening to it. It's all around us. And so they need an avatar to fill that product. And maybe producers and songwriters are going to be worried. And then artists who have that shamanistic drive are not going to fit this avatar space. No. But like I said, let them have the mood music. Let them have the avatar music. Let's go over here and build some shamans. That's what I think.
I agree with you 100%. I want to feel that passion, and I want to feel that drive from somebody. I want to feel that bass. I want to feel the drums in that room, and have it go through my whole body. There's something just so humanly organic about it that I find a lot of the AI stuff, which is, some of it is damn good. But there's also something about it that feels synthetic. It feels, I've heard the songs 1,000 times. And the difference is this. I have boxes and boxes of cassettes that I used to do on 4-track, growing up, bouncing all these songs. Or old demos that I had on ADAT, or I had on DAT tapes, or I had on CDs that I would just want to give it a facelift. And so we can upload stuff we've already written, completely ours, and AI can modernize it or, give it a little bit more of a pump. That's different. And you can use it as a tool if you're really a writer. It's the people who don't write songs, who don't sing, who are terrible lyricists, that try to throw something up there and go, I want a Rihanna sound like. And by the way, now there are these code words you can put in if you want it to be Rihanna. You can't say Rihanna, but you could put in island music. There's certain code words they have now, and it will produce that kind of a track for you. And that's the part that I'm more concerned about, rather than real writers, because real writers are not going to want that to do everything for them.
Right. But speak to that for a second. There's the retail user of Suno or Udio, one of these things. I want a song. It's my dog's birthday. My dog really would be a huge fan of banjo-based folk. So I'm going to write some lyrics about Puppy.
Dog.
Yeah, Spotty the poodle. And I'm going to hear the lyrics. And I really want it to be banjo-based folk. Away you go, and you play it, and everyone thinks it's funny. You know what? Might be. And it could even be a hit. People will be like, Spotty the poodle thing is just so good. Have you heard it? Now it's every 3-year-old's favorite song, and there's a Spotty the poodle dance. Right, fine. So you could go down that road, and I just think it doesn't matter. It's noise. Ignore it. Because two things. One, if you're writing original music, that's the first and most important thing. Second of all, if you have good music fundamentals and foundation, and you understand about how music is made, about chords, about harmony, about function, about melody, and how things really work, you can use something like Suno as your superpower. And I will show you on another episode, particularly if you ask me in the comments, I will show you a couple of processes in real time about how I've created a demo, a really basic piano and vocal demo. Like, you can't believe how basic it is. And then because I know what to ask for, and because I know how to bring it back into my own DAW in my own DAW, now I'm using it as an automated production service, right? And now people are getting a real product. It's real human stuff. My tune, which by the way, I don't mind saying, is often quite good. So I want to highlight the strength of my own writing, because Suno can do a pretty good impression of pretty good writing and things like that. And sometimes it does something quite special. And we'll talk about why that is. But at the end of the day, if I can bring that back to my thing, then most importantly, I can say to a client, or I can say to an audience, this is my work. And they don't really care how it got dressed up, right? Doesn't matter which shop I went to buy the outfit, but the main thing is mine. And I really think that if you're a young up and coming artist, this is the moment to get your head and hands around AI, understand what it can do for you, and get your edge. This is all about edge, right? Because if you don't have it, you'll just get left behind.
Here's where I think it would really help. Some of the hardest times I had was I've written a song, piano vocal, and then I'm not sure how I want to have it produced. And I've had producers just butcher a song, because as far as like trying to get the vibe or the feel or what I'm looking for, maybe I didn't know how to say, oh, I want a shuffle groove, or I didn't understand. I want to use a certain sound on this guitar, or I didn't know what kind of mic or vocal effects I wanted, blah, blah, blah. You know, I would bring in examples of other songs that I wanted it to sound like, but Suno will allow you to kind of sort of play around with that almost as a pre-production before you go in the studio. And I think in that way, it would also educate a listener, because it's really all about listening and understanding what is going on and being able to break a song down. I think it could be very, very helpful for tools that way. It's kind of like, if I would go into Yulia's world, like CapCut, it's got all those templates, the pre-done templates, and you probably use them at first, but then at one point in time, you're like, you know what? I have other ideas I want to do from borrowing some of these templates that were really cool. I like that look, but I want to add my own flavor to it. So it's a similar thing when we have any kind of tools to help us, is just depending on how you use them, and not let it exploit people who are really trying to do it from a genuine point of view. So it's interesting. My grandmother, who lived to be 99 years old, she always said to me, Anika, no matter what, she said, you have to roll with the punches, because they're coming. It's going to change. The world's going to change around you, and it depends on how you fit into that. But you can't fight against it, because it's going to keep going without you.
Wise words.
And they were very true words.
Very true. Important part of what we do here, which is the artist workshop. This is where we bring different people, different weeks onto the show. We bring their content. We kind of highlight and showcase it. We play it back. And then we talk about ways in which we think the artist might optimize, or things they've done really, really well, or places where they maybe could improve. And I'm going to go first today. So I have found this cool artist on Insta here, which you maybe can see. It's Melle Songs, right? I'm a musician with too many instruments. I've got an album out now. There's a tour going on. Okay, but clearly the following isn't there yet, right? But let's see which way things are moving. And it caught my eye partly because I thought it had a very natural feel. This is someone who it looks like is showing us that he is a musician first and foremost, right? I see instruments, right? It's not an accident. I see instruments everywhere I go. Dude can play drums, and there's instruments all over the stage, some weird instrument, which is cool. Here he is playing out live, doing some cool stuff. And also visuals have been featured on this grid as well, right? So here, what's this lighthouse got to do with it? Well, it's probably something from a video or a music video. So like we always say, your visuals have to be just as important, if not more important, than your music at the moment, because if you can't hook them with their eyes, you're going to lose them, because no one's listening to audio alone these days. They're just not. So I found this video that I kind of thought was cool. I'm going to play it to you for a moment.
I just hate me when I'm at my worst. I'm not enough for all that you deserve. Baby, I know. Baby, I know. Baby, I know. Hey, Melle hier. En op 19 maart sta ik met mijn band in Paradiso. Dus ik hoop dat jullie allemaal...
Okay, so I think that's just so interesting for so many reasons. Anika, how to hit you?
I'd have to watch everything this man does because he's very talented. The thing that's interesting to me, he's a nice voice. And I like that he's in front of a church, but I can tell that there's a lot of reverb on that guitar, and that is not the original track.
Right. So what Anika is saying is that what we're watching, it's quite clever what he did here, which is why I thought it was a particularly interesting video for us to look at. This is two things at once. It's a music video at the beginning. I'm going to define that in a second, right? Music video to me means the audio that we're seeing that was recorded with the picture is not what we're hearing.
Right.
That's what it means for a music video. So if you record a song in the studio and then you go out to a field where it's really, really windy because you can see the trees are blowing like crazy and someone's singing in what seems to be this perfect way, well, then you know it's not a music. It's not the real audio. It is a music video where people are miming to a previously made recording. Okay.
Yeah, they're lip syncing.
Okay, so we can see that there's guitar work. You can hear that there's guitar work that we cannot see. You can hear that the vocal is meticulously in tune and has a pretty reverb and some really nice EQ and compression.
There's no street noise.
Well, there was. You know what was so interesting? At the end,
when he started talking.
Actually, before, I can hear it in my headphones. It might be hard to hear. But there was actually, I know what's going on. They've layered two things here. Very smart. So in their creation process, they've made a record, they've played back the record, and his buddy or whomever has walked down the road with him, and you can actually hear the wind noise.
And the footsteps a little bit.
Yeah, so they must have heard it and then chosen not to cut it out, which is even more interesting. And then when the song gets done, in fact, his record has ended or his snippet, whatever it was, then they transition into the street sound where he does his talking. And that is such a brilliant idea because that makes you really believe, if you're not paying attention, that this whole thing is live. And you're like, damn, that guy's a good singer. How did he do that live? Well, he didn't.
Well, here, I have one thing to say, though, which is so interesting. Had he just done it in the cathedral, he might have gotten away with it. Because there's natural reverb in churches.
Right, but what you can't do then is separate the guitar, make the guitar sound pretty, separate the vocal, make the vocal sound pretty,
I meant even lip syncing it. I would have probably believed more that reverberation was occurring, even if he lip synced it because of the room. But this is a funny thing. You and I are going to notice that. Yulia, did you notice that?
Yeah, Yulia, what's your takeaway? But can I ask you before you respond? Okay, I want to know what you did notice, but also I'm so interested to know what you thought about the location, all the choices that he made around this video, and whether it's effective or not.
Can you pull it back up and you could just mute it? Yeah, or you could just
one more time.
I'd like to see it again.
Okay, then it's back by demand.
Yeah, our ears are more.
Yeah, you guys are just specialists.
One more time. That's how we got here. Okay, one more time.
I just hate me when I'm at my worst.
Yeah, that vocal sound is not natural.
I'm not enough for all that you deserve. Baby, I know. Baby, I know. Baby, I know. Hey, Melle hier. En op 19 maart sta ik met mijn band in Paradiso. Dus ik hoop...
Yeah, so the street was there the whole time. But it was only subtle.
It was like bedded down there.
Yeah, but wait a second. Now I have a question for myself. So if there was street noise and he was playing and it wasn't that guitar, why didn't the street noise record that guitar?
Because he wasn't playing the guitar.
Yeah, he was.
Well, I think they probably went out and got sound. They got street noise before he played.
Okay, so you think they have manufactured the street? So like a Foley artist, you think
I would have done the same thing because I've done sound design. I would have done the same thing. I would have gone out and collected the sound and then I would have put the vocal on top of it. Yeah, because that will make it sound real.
Okay, but just to state the obvious, they could have just taken the whole first part, and you've seen this 100 times. The whole first part of the video has no natural sound. It's just the playback of a record. And then at a certain point, you fade that down, you bring up the street sound in your edit, and the dude does his talking and tells you all about his gig. Why go to all the trouble of making...
Because they don't want you to think that he's not... They want you to think he's
so
doing
it's so
it
important
live.
to them to do authenticity
Yes.
for the street sound.
Yes.
I think
Well,
so.
that's quite a high level of work they've done there.
Now, really
To
quickly
mislead
before
us.
Yulia says anything, it's interesting to me because he really is a musician. He maybe doesn't need to do that unless he couldn't get the sound because it was too loud in the street. Maybe that was the problem. It didn't translate. I don't know.
So it was more like that was a fix it after the fact
It's
thing.
very possible we could give him the benefit of the doubt because this poor guy, maybe
And-
something came up.
Well, Melle Songs, we invite you to tell us what went on. If you want to share, drop us a line, and then we'd love to have you on the show, Mr. Melle Songs. We'd love to talk to you in person and see what you think and what you did and what your process was, because it helps everyone, and we'd be happy to help you.
Yulia, what were your thoughts on that?
Can we go back to I would
wants to see
say
the
like,
video.
okay, so as a regular person, you don't have to play it. You could just like, you
bet.
can like, yeah, you could just pull it up. I just wanted to
Show
see
it.
your
No
profile.
No audio.
Okay,
Oh,
wait,
his
wait.
profile. Okay.
Okay, so as a regular listener of music, I would say I noticed none of those things. I thought it was a really cool video. Like, it was interesting. What I look at, so if you go to his profile, and then now
I just hate me when I
if you go to his profile, so go scroll up and then go to that go down, go to that second middle little icon. It's like the Reels tab. That one, yeah. Okay, so this is going to tell us the view count of the videos, and this tells you more information.
Oh,
And so if
6,400.
you like hover over each video, just like put your mouse on a video, it'll tell you quickly like how many views he got, how much comments he got. And this is what I look at. I look at what is a video count? Like, how many views can this person get? What's the engagement like? I mean, you can go in there and look at comments and stuff.
Can I
But-
ask you a question? Okay, so when we're looking here, what is that 5,841 on the bottom versus 85 when you run your mouse over it?
So it's 85 likes, 6 comments, and then the view count is 300, 3,000, and
Okay.
3,321. Yeah, so this tells you a lot of information about the artist, because the thing is, this is what Instagram is. This is their bread and butter now. It's the Reels tab. The other tab is your aesthetic, old Instagram feed, portfolio. But what you're looking at is, when you're making content, you have to think of the Reels tab. The Reels tab is the most important tab on your page because it gives you as much information as possible. And people don't find artists like this. What they do is they scroll obviously on their page, but I think that
Like
it's a really
here on the
cool-
grid. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's the grid. But so Instagram was supposed to get rid of the grid. But the thing is that this aesthetic grid, but the Kardashians, they did a protest. They protested against Instagram, and Instagram couldn't change their own app. But it was going to be like
Wow.
Reels. It was going to be like TikTok, basically, where you have the view counts and everything on there. Because on TikTok, it doesn't matter what your grid looks like. Nobody cares. Because this is why I say followers don't matter, because in the past they mattered, but now they don't. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. You can have 10 million followers. Every single video you post is now being evaluated by 200 people that do not follow you. And if those 200 people do not like your stuff, doesn't matter if you have 10 million followers, that video is not going anywhere. So your follower count means nothing.
So you
Now
have to
it's
have
about
200 people give you a heart.
yes, and engage with your content. If that does not happen, it doesn't matter if you have 1 million followers, your video is not going
Wow.
anywhere. So in a way, it's kind of like every time you post, you're a new artist, you're a new creator. It doesn't matter how many followers you have, because in the past you were guaranteed those eyeballs. But now, if you want to see your followers, you have to pay money. You have to pay Instagram money to access your own followers. So the way you move around that is you start making content based off your interests, and that way you can access the Reels tab, the algorithm, the For You algorithm. So with this artist, what I notice is He's creating really great content. The views are really good. He's still not, so like my videos, my view count is higher than my follower count, which is what you want to see. And so that's what I want to see. It's like, if you have 1 million views on videos, 300,000 views, followers don't matter. This person knows how to get views. So I would say this person is in the middle ground and they're still learning and creating, but I would say that the content's really cool. I really like that video.
I did too.
I would like to see more stories. Like I would like to understand his story as well.
So it's not. So I think that's an important point. You know, I think and we don't know about his stories because we don't see them here. I guess I could click. Or just like
who he is, like his origin story, who he is.
I can hear and get the stories, right?
Wearing my t-shirt with the sun in your face.
Yeah, I like that.
Wearing my t-shirt with
The difference.
Hear the difference?
Wearing my t-shirt with the sun in
That's
your
live.
Like every time I talk to you.
The kind of picture you just
So, you know, clearly this guy's on a drive right now to push this content.
See, I liked that live. I liked the reverberation when it was live performance and then hearing the demo of it. I would just say for me, and maybe this is something, Yulia, you could talk about, when you want to know more about him, that those moments when he's not on stage and he's not in the studio and it's not perfect, to just be organic, to just let us in that way and have a moment where it's just him and the guitar.
Right. And, you know, if you've lost us here, what we're talking about in detail is if you shoot a video, whether it's a 2-camera performance or whether it's what I call a music video, which is a mimed lip sync thing, you have to start making decisions about whether you want it to sound like what you see or whether you want it to sound like something else. That's the discussion we're having. Okay.
That's a good point. Sound like what you see.
You sound like what you see. And you can suspend disbelief. To your point, Anika, it's not always, in my opinion, the best advice to say, well, you should sound like what you see. So if you see a street, you should sound like you're on the street. No, not always. I don't think so. Sometimes. And it's a case-by-case thing. But what is important is that you ask yourself that question, right? Whether you come down on the side of, I want this to sound like something random or weird, whether I want it to sound like exactly what the viewer is going to see, fine. You know, those can be artistic decisions based on 100 different things and your vibe and your outfits and whether you are surreal or whether you're very real or any of those things. But what is important is that you ask yourself that question in your process. Don't let it be an accident. Because I've had many people have come to me with a video and they've said, what do you think of this? And I go like, did you think about whether it was, you know, sound like what you see or did you know it was a studio thing? Oh, I didn't think about it. And I would just say, you know, make sure you do.
But I think when you talk, and we'll probably have to go on this on another podcast, when you talk about the Picasso effect, Yulia, which she can explain as we go farther, but it's very talented. So I think that should have been the first thing I said, because I do think he's very talented. That when you see someone who's on a stage and then you see them in the studio and everything is so processed or just sounds so perfect, that all I was saying was depending on what else he has there, to have that authenticated moment. It doesn't have to be when that happened, but I'd love to just see him sit down and play the guitar and just, you know, I was writing the song and here's a verse I came up with, something that's just a simple moment. And he might have that exactly. Like I have not studied this guy.
Right. And,
sometimes musicians, we can get in our own way of wanting everything to be.
Well, everyone's trying to do something new and compelling. But look, to your point, Anika, look, here he is with his guitar. Here he is with his guitar.
Right.
Like there is quite a lot. I mean, I do take away from this immediately, and this is to his credit. This is really, really good. I know immediately that you play the guitar, and I know immediately that you sing.
Yeah.
So I have my expectation is set, and I have some identity. It's cool you play other stuff as well. I know then you're an all-round musician and that music is your whole thing. It's great. It's impressive. People like it and there's some artistic stuff. I really, really like the blend, right? And so I think for a lot of artists like this, it's like doing everything right. You're trying different stuff. You're playing different instruments. You're doing this. You're showing your composition, your vocal skills, the whole thing. Why then do you or don't you cut through, right? That's why we're
that's
here.
a question.
We're here to answer that question. Why do you or don't you cut through? And I think a lot of that is in the hacking. A lot of that is really what Yulia can speak to about how to use these platforms. We can see that he's using Instagram to its fullest extent. We see that, but is he using it right? Yulia, and I would ask you, from what you've seen here, where do you think he can optimize, or are there techniques other than what you've already said, or even more of what you just said? Because you could say it again and it wouldn't be too much, because we're all still like, wait, she said what? Talk us through that one more time, how he can use what to really help push himself forward there.
I would say that this is what I have our students do all the time. Don't just show music, show everything. And this is what Anika was asking about the Picasso effect. Don't just show one single angle. Like, think of like the Renaissance paintings. It's just this boring one single angle. You look at a Picasso, you look at maybe that's why I have my uncle's paintings behind me. You look at a cubist painting, you see all the angles in one frame. That's basically what cubism is. So basically we want to see different sides of you. Who are you? Outside of just singing. Like, you're not just, because AI can sing now, right? We had this conversation about AI singing or AI doing all this stuff. So who are you? Like, point the light back at yourself and show us all the angles. Like where are you from? I want to understand a little bit more. Let's say you wrote a song. Why did you write that song? So I've seen this creators will do is they'll put text above their heads and they'll say things like about the song. So this is for my ex, or whenever your heart is broken, because not only is a text or like a title in your videos on top, not in the caption, on top of your head, or around, the algorithm is picking up that caption or that title, not just people, because you're scrolling and the algorithm is choosing who to send this video to. We don't get to choose. The algorithm chooses. So the algorithm is basically, and I talked to Anika's class about this, the algorithm is basically like a postal system. You're not choosing your content. You are being delivered content to your door, and you decide if you want to open it, if you want to continue to be in that video. So what I would say is you have to talk to the algorithm, tell it information about you, add keywords in your video, shrink it really small, and then move it to the side on the actual video. So the algorithm reads all of this so that it sends it to people that are interested in what you're talking about. Maybe you write heartbreak or love, guitar, keywords. Think of SEO, keywords on the actual video. Write that from the platforms. Also in the title too. And that way it gives us more information, and it gives the algorithm more information about this video, because in 3 seconds, I'm deciding if I'm staying or not. And if you don't capture me in the first 3 seconds, I'm scrolling. So you have to really give us more context, give us a lot of context. And, like I said,
3 seconds,
maybe 2. Sometimes it's 2. In a way, I think these algorithms are teaching us how to have pattern recognition very quickly. Like, people think, oh, you're just doom scrolling. No. I'm making my pattern recognition much stronger.
Right.
So you as a user, right? Because I'm more of a user. I do not make content. I mean, I do not, I'm not an artist. Like, I don't sing, I don't perform or anything like that. I'm not a performer, but I am a regular user. And so for me, it's about, I need to see what this video is about. Am I going to invest my time? And so you have to tell us what is this video about?
Musicians, they're like, well, I've done this song, I'm going to share this song, and I wrote this thing, and I'm going to write this thing. But you're talking about all the meta content, right? That is going to get you those extra views and that extra attention, right? If I'm hearing you right. And that's just not just waiting. And Anika, you must have seen this 100 times where your artist is like, oh, I'm going to wait till this video is perfect. I'm going to wait till this mix is perfect or something.
We're all guilty of that.
And they're like, but why? And they don't get it, because the artist mentality is one of perfectionism. You don't become an artist writing and doing things because you're not a perfectionist. You only become an artist because that's part of who you are. And it's a really important lesson to just let go of that for the world where you want people to know who you are. Shake everyone's hand. And this is the opportunity to do that, right? I think that's what you're saying, Yulia.
Yeah, definitely. Like, show the process. Show us the sketch. Think of like paintings. Show us the sketch. Like, show us the process. Because in the past, you couldn't do that, right? You had to show your finished product because you were competing against all these people who had finished products. Now you're competing against AI. And so how do you prove you're a human? You point the light back at yourself and you show the process. You show, your sketch, and then you show the next sketch. So for example, as an artist, I'd show the lyrics. If I write things down, like if I physically write, I write the lyrics and be like, this is my lyrics. This is what I'm going through. Is this a poem? I'm just going to speak without music. And then the next video, I'm going to sing this song. I'm going to perform it. This is my first time. I'm so excited.
I can see the artist crawling out of their own skin in real time as you say that.
But wait a minute. I have another question for you. Because I think what we're also talking about is shop talk. I don't know if you've ever been with people talking shop. And what I mean by that is my husband and his twin brother both beta test Pro Tools. And when they get together with their buddies, they're just talking about, it's so boring. And they're so excited about it. And I'm like, stop shop talking, because I can't even get involved in the conversation. So sometimes if musicians are just shop talking, it's really boring for a person who's not a musician to be watching that. So I think also you just want to know who that person is. And it's a different generation than generation. I meant genre. It's a different generation.
I like that.
I kind of
generation.
Generations of music.
Je suis Monsieur Génération.
J'ai oublié trop parce que je ne parle pas le français. I can't do it anymore. Anyway,
we lost Anika in France. Au revoir.
Au revoir. I think what Yulia is mentioning too, besides just changing the string or showing the sketch of it all, just who was the person behind it? What inspired you to write the song, or what happened to you in your life that made you want to do it? Give us a little diary. And everyone's going to be different. Some people just don't want to do that. So maybe if a guy doesn't want to do that, he could say, I love racing cars. It's my favorite little sport to do when I'm not playing guitar. Check this out. Yeah, maybe it's something completely non-related to it, so that you feel like you become. That's why Taylor Swift is so famous, because she's your friend. You knew everything about her life. Her music was every relationship that didn't work, was everything she was going through. She's very transparent about that. And also a cheerleader for all of the other people who were succeeding. So it's an interesting, I think if people like you, they're going to want to hear your music because they like you. I watch movies.
And vice versa. Mm-hmm. It's neither one nor the other. It's all of the above.
True.
And that is a thing for people, especially people who are really into their music and into their art and craft. That's the thing to take on board. You've got to make sure that you keep expanding your awareness outside of that core thing. We're not saying it's not important. We're not saying it's not the most important thing, and it's not important when, it is. But you must make enough space in your bandwidth and your content creation to make sure that you give us the other stuff too, because you got to get somewhere. And Yulia is telling you exactly how to do that. Typical thing we do in our in-person workshop, we work through exactly this kind of thing. Really talented artists playing us stuff and being like, you're like, holy cow, that is so good. Okay, how are you going to move the needle?
Yeah, how are we going to hear about you?
That's where the work begins. Eyeballs and airballs.
The archetype stuff, there's all those artist development things about having, how to figure out how you interact with the world, how people see you. I do a whole feel thing where, we do a body feel. What's the first thing you see about that person? What's the energy that person's giving you? What animal, what color, all these different things you can break down of a person, because there are certain ways that we behave in life, and we're all performing in life, whether we're on stage or not. If I'm going to a party, I'm going to put on my best outfit. I'm going to be performing because I want to have people like me. So it's a similar thing of figuring out what it is, what's at the core of who you are and how you go through life. Is also how you want to relate to the audience. You want them to know, if you're funny, be funny. If you're serious, be serious. If you're, a brainiac, be a brainiac. We want to know that part about you. So it's interesting. And I think for a long time we ran away from it because musicians hide behind their music. We write songs because we weren't able to say what we wanted to in the moment. We reflect on things, so it kind of goes against the personality of, or the process, artist process, the process of what we think of, when we write a song.
Because I always say, kind of going back to your question about shop talk. So the algorithms are not follower-based algorithms. Basically, it's not a follower graph, it's an interest graph. So it's based off your interests. So when you make a video, think about who is going to be interested in what I'm talking about here? So the guy that you showed us, well, it's anybody who likes guitars, anybody who, loves acoustic music maybe, and then the culture and all these other things, right? So when
Church.
you have to watch your video, church, watch your video and think about who is going to be interested in this, like objectively look behind. So that's why for our students, what I do is I always ask them, why are you making this video? What is the purpose of it? What do you want out of it? Do you want people to discover you? Do you want to promote something? Like, why are we making this? And then after that, it's okay, who are we targeting? Who is this for? Because you want other people to see themselves in you and your content. So now you have to have a target audience. Is it people like you? Oh, that's going to be so easy, because now you just write down everything about you and then you just reflect it back at those people that are like you and you're going to get them back. Okay, that's not the case. All right, then who are you targeting? Figure that out. And then from there, making content becomes so easy. But the hardest part is know thyself and know who you're targeting. Those are the
Know thyself.
hardest things. Those are the two hardest things to do in content creation. And then from there, it's who is the archetype? Like, who are you? What is your archetype? Like for me, in my bio, I have cultural detective. Like I'm always like trying to detect what's happening. And like for Often, for example, he's like the PR of Canada. Like he's from Toronto. So, he's an artist and I work with him, and for him, it's very much about how do I tell the story of Toronto through music, through videos, through video essays. Like, how do I tell the story of my city, right? So now people from Toronto see themselves in him.
Yeah.
So so it could be that granular. It could be my city, or maybe it's, you love poetry and you're a poet first, poetry. Okay. Who inspires you? Maybe make a video about, Edgar Allan Poe. Maybe make a video about your favorite poems and break down the videos and break down the music and then say, this song was inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. Now, think about the interest graph. People who love Edgar Allan Poe are going to like it. People who like poetry. And I want to hear a song about Edgar Allan Poe was inspired. You inspired that song? I want to hear that song, right? So now think about interest graphs and then basically make songs around your interest, and maybe that might, spark something new for you.
It could even come down to a lyric in a song. That would be an interesting thing, to take a lyrical line that has perhaps a double meaning or something that is what is sort of the pivot of why you wrote that song, and utilizing that as the story base. Because I give, when I give writers prompts, and I give a word or a concept of how to write, either if it's, object writing or something like that, the stories behind how people come up with the songs are sometimes really interesting. And it triggers, it makes your mind go, okay. But eat strawberries.
And, guys, I just want to say once and for all, if things aren't going well, just try eating strawberries on Instagram. If that doesn't work for you, I got nothing. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you all for tuning in. This was fun. I had a good time. I can't wait to do more. I have so much more to talk about.
And thanks especially to Melle Sounds. We know you don't know you were featured today, but you are now, and we're grateful to you, and we invite you onto the show where we'd like to talk to you more.
Because we love your music.